Hello, my friends. I'm finally done with LEGO Island 2. Or so I thought. Yeah, with the success of the Game Boy line of consoles, I guess it's a no-brainer that the LEGO company would dip their toes in, and that's why today we're gonna play LEGO Island 2 on the Game Boy Color. What a ride this is gonna be. LEGO Island 2 also had a version on the Game Boy Color. It's basically what you'd imagine an 8-bit version of the game I played in the previous video would be. It's a top-down perspective, which is kind of to be expected for this console. It starts off with the Infomaniac saying he made Pepper a skateboard so he can deliver pizzas. I guess the Infomaniac makes boards now, but I mean, didn't Pepper always have a skateboard? Interesting. So the portable version doesn't even include the beginning part where the townspeople build you a house, like in the original. So I guess Pepper has to sleep in the back of the pizzeria still. But it cuts right to the chase, and idiot Papa has you deliver a pizza right to the jail. The game definitely looks nice. The graphics are a bit blocky, but considering this is a game about LEGO, I think that can be accepted. The map of the city is simple enough. It doesn't even let you go to most places to start anyways, because the cops are literally blocking off the roads because they don't have donuts. The bridge to get to the Brickster in itself is a confusing maze, but yeah, you just deliver the pizza to him and of course he escapes. The cutscenes, if you want to call them that, don't really explain how he does it. It just has Pepper handing him a pizza followed by a slide of him walking out of the jail. For all I know, he could have used Pepper's skull to break the bars, but who knows? Never know. You go to the police station after that, and Nick is like, yeah, go look for the Brickster because I ate too many donuts. Yeah, such a help you are. There's other smaller objectives throughout, like getting a pickaxe to give to Bill Ding to open a road, and there's also trading cards you can collect, which are based on random characters throughout the game. On the way to the rescue center, you fall down a hole. What is this? LEGO Island 2 or freaking Animal Crossing? It takes you down into a weird dungeon that's, by Pepper's words, spooky and creepy. Yeah, sure. It's just rooms that you have to open the door by solving simple puzzles, but watch out for that skeleton because, well, actually they won't do anything. They don't hurt you. You can't die in this game or take damage. Or really in any of these LEGO games for that matter. At the end of the dungeon, you fight a monster. I'm not sure if this is a nod to LEGO Rock Raiders, but you just pretty much throw pizza at him until he dies. You finally get to go to the rescue center at last, and then Bill Ding is there telling you, take the boat, it floats. Well, thank you for not making me ride in a faulty boat that's gonna sink and cause me to drown, if Pepper can even do that. But yeah, this time it's a raft instead of that motorboat from the original. The struggle was real. In this version, you actually go to Adventurers Island first. The characters from there have nothing useful to say, really. I can rub my belly and pat my head. Yeah, thanks. Can you help me find this deadly criminal? The bad guy who kidnapped the dinosaurs previously locks you up in a cell, and you basically have to sneak out without getting caught by guards. It's just a really linear stealth stage, and you know, it's just nice to not have garbage minigames in this, honestly. After being in prison, you go into the jungle, and then you find that the helicopter crashed in there. You can also meet Achu, who in this version of the game you can completely understand, and he sends you to Castle Island with magic, I guess? But on the plus side, this game has no jousting nor cannon minigames. Thank goodness. You basically go through this hedge maze and sneak by guards to go see the king. I mean, I guess this Castle Island only has one castle on it. Maybe they finally put aside their differences. The king agrees to help you out, but only if you go back into the maze and rescue his daughter. I don't even think she's in trouble. I mean, come on, man. This guy owes Pepper money. More sneaking and pointless, uneventful objectives go by in the forest of the Castle Island until you fight Cedric the Bull, aka the jerk that made you play that awful canon game previously. He's relentless too, but all you really gotta do is wait it out and then he gets tired. The Brickster then shows up and immediately runs away, and it sparks a random cutscene where he's in a rocket and one of the bricks fell out. And it just happens to be the brick that's needed for a random wizard to cast a spell to send you back to Lego Island. Yeah, I don't know either. You follow the path while avoiding enemies, and the brick that just so happens to be the one brick that the spaceship needs. So then you just automatically go into space. The space part is also very short. It's just another maze followed by the final boss fight where you just throw pizzas at the Brickster, similarly to the PS1 version. The second part of the fight has the Brickster in a weird box, I guess. You just throw pizzas at him again whenever there's an opening. After that, the Brickster just pretty much turns himself in and Pepper does a dance. And then they show an image of a grumpy Brickster in jail. Yeah, so that's the game. It's an insanely simplified version of the original, but for what it is, it's fine. No harm done here. It's not the best game in the world, but the lack of terrible minigames is definitely a breath of fresh air. But we're not done yet. That's right. It's time for Lego Island 2 on the Game Boy Advance. You know it, the Lego Island 2 train continues on the Game Boy Advance. It kind of makes sense though, because Lego Island was released at that awkward period in time when the Advance just came out, so a bunch of people producing games just decided to release games for both consoles, just in case. Power Rangers Time Force was another example of this. The game is a little bit closer to the console counterpart than the GBC one, but it's not by much, and honestly, I don't know if that's necessarily a good thing. It does look really nice for being an early Game Boy Advance game. It immediately opens with them saying that the Brickster escaped, so at least you don't have to live with the occurrence on your conscience and stuff. The Infomaniac just tells you about how the Constructopedia has been stolen, and yeah, I don't need to explain the plot to you again. As you go through the island, you stop to have a conversation with the Brickster. Somehow, no one thinks to call the police, but the stupid criminal gives you a skateboard for some reason. Now, I'm going to be brief about this game in general, but the biggest issue with this game is this. You can't cross the street. Yeah, I'm not joking. They programmed the game so that you cannot get across the street unless there's a crosswalk in front of you. So exploring the island is just super tedious and it takes forever. Your destination's across the street? Well, tough noodles, you gotta find the crosswalk. Maybe the police were less concerned about jaywalking across the empty streets. They would have just captured the Brickster when he was carrying on a conversation with me previously. So you pretty much just explore the island looking for the Constructopedia pages, following one of the worst in-game maps I've ever seen to get through. At one point I was told to go to the information center, but no matter how much I looked, I couldn't find it on the map. This game is just terrible, and it's not devoid of bad minigames either. If anything, they're even worse, like this apple picking game. This game is just too cryptic, and it's a bad egg for sure. So that's it for Lego Island 2. But there's one more game in the Lego Island franchise that often goes overlooked, and I can't justify making a video on it on its own because it's not full of enough content to do so. But so right now we're gonna take a look at Island Extreme Stunts for the PlayStation 2. Ooh boy. Lego Island Extreme Stunts is a weird thing. Instead of making it a third island game, they just decided to bank in on the popularity of extreme sports that exploded in the early 2000s. In 2002, this game saw a release on the PC, but you already know I'm going to play the PS2 version of it. The opening of the game just shows a full motion video where everyone is hyped up over the filming of some movie called Extreme Stunts. I mean, I don't really think that's a good title, but hey, I'm not the director, so whatever. It pans to Pepper on top of a large ramp, and for some reason you control the 2 seconds of him going down the ramp, even though it's entirely in a straight line. You're then greeted by the director, and he's just telling you how great you are, and it immediately hops into a minigame where you're driving your car down the street and you have to ram into the Brickster's car repeatedly. Whoa. Hold the phone. Brickster? You mean that dangerous criminal that was destroying the island in the past 2 games that I played? The one that, is a threat to society? Yeah, about that. This game only was released a year after Lego Island 2 was, so how is he out of jail already? I mean, I guess I can't imagine he got out on good behavior or anything, but I guess now that he's involved in Hollywood, he just gets a free pass, much like everyone else involved in Hollywood. Anyways, like I explained, you have to crash into the Brickster and destroy his vehicle. The driving controls are fine. I don't really have any complaints besides the fact that this shows that this is just going to be a long string of mini games again. Aside from all that, you can free roam the island, which is probably the best part of the gameplay. But once again, the island is laid out differently, and there's all sorts of collectibles that you can get, like random bricks and stuff. Every time you collect one, half the screen gets engulfed by a stupid message explaining what you got, even if it's something you've already collected. The island is big, and honestly, it's a little too big if you ask me. A lot of the same classic spots are there, but they don't really have the charm of before. And not just one, but 2 skate parks, because extreme. In addition to filming the movie and stuff, you can also do small missions for the islanders as well, like deliver mail for Ed Mail. He times you though, and it's pretty tight if you don't know what you're doing. Fine, deliver mail yourself, you lazy turd. The pizzeria is also in this game, and it's much larger than before. I guess Papa's lack of paying Pepper livable wages has really paid off. His hat gets blown off by a Brickster bot and he asks you to go get it back, but heck that. You can also get a license for various vehicles, including taking a driving test for Nick Brick. I crashed a car constantly on my test, but I still somehow got my license. I guess this is where people in Pennsylvania take their driving test. Now let's get into the issues of the game. First off, the characters are just way different. They have much different, much worse voice actors.
Talk to people. They might have something to say.
The way the movie minigames are laid out are very discouraging to attend as well, since they require you to find whatever location it's being filmed at, and let's be honest, the map in Pepper's PDA just isn't very helpful. It's better than the map in the Game Boy Advance Lego Island 2, but that's not saying much. The final thing, the minigames kinda suck. As appealing as this minigame that's clearly inspired by Excitebike is, it's not. The game just lacks the charm that even the second one had for the most part. And it's a shame too, because it controls nice, and if this were more like the first two, it would be a wonderful game. Now, there is kind of a plot in this game, including one where, surprise, surprise, the Brickster must be defeated, but I just don't care. The lack of charm and enjoyment in this game just kills it for me. Really, the only good part about this game is the music. The music is just awesome, and the soundtrack has literally no business being as awesome as it is.
Every time I'm dancing, I go crazy. Reaching out, the light just makes me crazy. Every time I'm dancing, I go crazy. Lego heats.
So, that's Lego Island Extreme Stunts. It's kind of a disappointment. But it's not disappointment enough. We're gonna take a look at Lego Island Extreme Stunts on the Game Boy Advance. Let's dig in. Of course, they had to do a cash grab by releasing this on the Game Boy Advance as well. After all, it worked out so nicely with Island 2, so why not do this one too? I'm gonna be pretty brief with this one as well, because I'm kind of over this series at this point, but it's basically the previous game without the awesome music and without the free roaming aspect, aka the only good parts of it. Instead, you're greeted with a map screen that's similar to like Mario games or something. The first level is the same thing as the real first stage of the PS2 version, just drive and crash into the Brickster. It goes for a top-down perspective, which I guess that's fair enough, but it controls really badly. If you turn too hard, you just basically make a U-turn. Getting to the Brickster is really a pain in this as well. I wish I was playing Outrun 2019 instead. Alright, time for the second level. Let's see what kind of exciting stunt is ahead of us. How the heck is that a stunt? Is the Game Boy game Voxel Extreme now? The mini games in this are just horrible, like the Puzzle Bobble inspired, I think, game that you just match pizza colors, and why are those pizzas bright green anyway? Next up is this Brickster chasing game where it's on water. It's the same thing as the previous one, but on boats, I guess. The Excite Bike S game is here too, and surprise, it's even worse. You get these limited turbo boosts and they just go away so fast, and all your opponents just go way too fast for you. Next. How is that moving game an extreme stunt? More like extreme padding for this game that lacks content. Yeah, it's just Simon, but with the Brickster, basically. There's also a skating game, but it's just button mashing, and sometimes Pepper does a dab and it counts as a trick for some reason. This other game has you flying a plane dropping bombs. I'm playing a Lego game where you bomb people. I mean, it's clearly inspired by River Raid for the Atari 2600, and it's okay for what it is, but the physics just don't really make much sense. Well, I hope you're ready for the most extreme game of all in this entire package. Yeah, and there's 2 stages like that from the get-go. And I didn't get any further in that because you have to beat all those stages to get to the next batch of stages, and I couldn't beat that Excite Bike rip-off stage to save my life, so that means I'm done with Lego Island, thank goodness. You know, the series had its high highs, and then it also had its low lows. Oh good. But if Island Extreme Stunts did one thing right, it did spark its own line of actual physical sets, so something that I wanted since the first Lego Island finally became a reality. I could finally own characters like Pepper and the Brickster in physical form. So let's pick one up. Gosh darn it.
Let's go and see the pizza pie man. He welcomes everyone, his pizza's round.